Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here to another episode of Duckman TV. Have a special guest on with me today, Ian Jordan from the world of golf. So he's actually involved with Richmond Golf Club. He is the secretary and does brilliant stuff, being involved with a yearly fundraiser that he's going to tell us about today. Ian, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you. Now, I'm not secretary of the golf club. I'm on the golf management committee with other people, and just so happens that I've been a member of the golf club for 47 years, and it's a long time, I know. And we were able to establish a charity golf day, which we've run there for 37 years. So, and I'm I suppose I'm the chair of the organising committee of the charity golf day.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about the charity golf day and exactly what it does? We had a chat about this a couple of days ago, and you did tell me that it all started back 37 years ago, courtesy of the Diocese of Parramatta, helped found the golf day and everything like this.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the Greater Sydney area was called the Archdiocese of Sydney, and it had about 388 schools approximately, and a decision was taken to split the archdiocese into three different sections, if you like, the Diocese of Broken Bay, Sydney, and of course Parramatta. Now, Parramatta goes from Parramatta or Granville all the way through to the Blue Mountains, and we have about 88 schools. So to celebrate the birth, if you like, of the Diocese of Parramatta, a bishop was appointed and an executive director of schools. And then, of course, we decided, others decided to have a launch of the diocese by a black tie ball, which was held at the Blacktown Civic Centre. 1,000 or so people, certainly more than 1,000, attended that in 1987. And I was fortunate enough to be the MC of that event. And, of course, I was a school principal in the diocese at the time. So after the event, it was very successful. Everyone was very happy, but a bit of a sentiment was expressed that little less formal charitable occasion, or an occasion would be nice to celebrate what we do with all these schools and the mission we have. So the golf day was born, if you like, and the very first one was in 1987, and we had a very good response. It was at the Richmond Golf Club, and we raised around $3,000 in those days. Was pretty good, and that was donated to St Gabriel's School for the Hearing Impaired at Castle Hill. Now, from that day to this, there are teams that have played every year, 37 years straight. The Diocese Development Fund, DF, has been a sponsor every year for 37 years. So it's almost like a reunion of sorts. People who have retired or moved on have always wanted to play in the day, and they come from everywhere to form their teams and to play. They always know that there's always a charity of note which they would like to support. So it's like a well-being day, if you like. Yep. I mean, there's plenty of things in the day that where the sharpshooters can get good teams, and they really pay for wonderful prizes. Sponsors provide wonderful things for winners of different categories, and we have a lot of fun. And then there's plenty of scope for the not so good golfers to enjoy themselves and to win things as well. And over the years, we've I think I might not have mentioned this, but we've certainly raised over 37 years. We calculate that we've probably raised in excess of 550K, and we've raised money for all sorts of different good reasons, good charities. And in the last number of years, we've raised money for the Homicide Victim Support Group, and in particular Grace's Place, which is named after Grace Lynch, which is a property and an agency that's been built at Doonside, only opened last year, and that principally is used now for the children who are victims of homicide. So if you remember Anita Cobby, her mother was Grace Lynch, and she was at the forefront of this particular facility, where Anita's younger sister was extremely disturbed by what happened, terrible thing. and it was found there was no real place for children to go for respite and for counselling when they are victims of homicide. So it was a very worthy cause. In the last couple of years, we raised significant funds to help outfit that facility, and we went there and had a good look, and it's amazing what Martha Jabor, the CEO of the group, what they have done there. And of course, we've raised funds with Kids for Cancer, Westmead Children's Hospital, Spina Bifida, and many more. But in particular, over the years, we've raised money for San Miguel, and San Miguel is the subject of our fundraising this time around. A lot of people may not know about San Miguel, which is property in the Hawkesbury where there are bungalows, 2 and 3 bedroom bungalows for families at risk. In particular, we wanted to support saying no to domestic violence and saying yes to good relationships. And I'm sure many of your listeners would be very aware of the tragedy of family breakdown and the persecution of women and children. Unfortunately, if it happens, then they really are powerless and have nowhere to go. And so San Miguel provides this through the Child Protection Services, and we would think that's a very worthy thing to support. So, we've raised the funds to assist with different things in that process. Well, and in particular, I suppose, when children come to San Miguel, they need to go to school, and so they need uniforms and they need things for their schooling, and also the mums need a budget to buy food, and they need to get confidence back in those normal things, which often their confidence has been eroded by their circumstances. And then, of course, so any money we can provide to help them is a really good thing. And the probity and the accountability is very stringent by the San Miguel management, and we are aware of this. So it's a very good charity, and we're very, very happy to support it. These sorts of things have just developed over these 37 years, and we have a great day. It's very enjoyable, and of course, people are very generous for the support we give the charity.
Yep. So I really like you targeting a lot of local-based charities too, where you can see the direct impact of how the funds are benefiting the community directly, and you can put faces to the name of the people that are being afflicted. Unfortunately, like you did say, domestic violence is a very silent thing. Not a lot of people like to talk about it. It's kind of like it's taboo. And I think that's one thing that makes women feel like they're trapped, so that they can't get out. So it's good that when they can, that they're supported, not just like, yeah, you can go and anyone can leave and no worries, do your best, but you're on your own. Well, that must be a pretty scary proposition, really, as a young woman who may have had a lot of their support networks taken away from them.
That's right, and the counselling work at San Miguel, learning how to live again normally, getting the kids to school, becoming confident that you can be a homemaker as well as a worker out in the community. So San Miguel is all about building confidence and making sure that skills are realised, and so that once the children are in school and once we can provide for them and they feel they're getting back to a normal life, if you like, in one way of describing it, the next step is to get the mums back into work, and so that they're earning a living and they're becoming more independent. And then once that's established, if that's established as well as possible, then the next major development along the line is to get them transitional housing, so they move out of San Miguel, the protection of San Miguel, and move back into other communities where they're safe and where they can progress and are managed certainly equally along, so that they feel that they're being looked after and they are achieving and being successful. It's a very difficult thing to discuss. It's very hard to get your head right around why it happens.
Yes.
There's no judgments. You can't judge anybody. You just need to build back confidence and success for their children and themselves. Anyway, I mean, it's a similar pattern of things in any charity. Like working with hearing impaired people is the same. They lose confidence. Working with families that have got children who are suffering from cancer, it's unbelievably sad, and the empathy required. There's so many people do so many good, wonderful things around the place. They're not looking for any kudos, and they're not looking for any recognition. It's just a quiet giving back to people who are less well off and doing a little bit of good somehow. I mean, it's that simple. And there are a lot of people who do it. And one of the things about this charity golf day, it's not supposed to be a big deal, really. Like, it's not often, I suppose, maybe it can be measured by how much money you make, but I've never had that as a factor or a measurement. It's really local companies are very generous. They quietly help. I mean, it's amazing what people do around our community. I mean, I ask them, they step up to the mark. I mean, just recently, like every year, for example, Conan Peter from the Richmond Fruit Mart there at Richmond there. I mean, they would never trumpet anything, but I ask them every year, and they provide wonderful veg and fruit trays. These are really quite incredibly good, large, and highly picked as a raffle prize, if you like. Now, that's just a small thing, but I don't ever take it for granted. And like the Lindt Chocolate Factory at Marsden Park, they're brilliant. They always support our charity day by providing a big chocolate box. And then you've got other people, like we recently asked a local company called Paravan's Caravan World up there at Windsor, and it was they stepped up and were fantastic. And also St Mary's Avan, Drummond Golf at Penrith. We've got a company at South Windsor who call Adesso Home Improvements, Anthony Kirkick. They put in every year. I don't want to miss anyone out, but I think there's another. Steve McLaren from Hawkesbury Accident Repair Centre.
Yep.
At Windsor. They're local companies. They don't necessarily need any trumpeting, but they're always very generous when it comes to helping me with this charity golf day.
Yep. So
I haven't mentioned the Richmond Club. Now, the Richmond Club Limited in particular, I don't think I could do it without them. And they are extremely community-minded, and not only do they help the charity I run, but they help so many others, including Legacy and Kids with Cancer in a separate event in those Kid with Camp Quality events. Yes. So they do all sorts of things that a lot of people wouldn't know about.
Yeah. Well, I had a chat, courtesy of your introduction, actually, with Craig Hodge the other day, and he is a very proactive advocate for wanting to do community-based different things. So, like, give time, give money, and support to community programs. And I think that is a key focus of what your whole golf day is about. That you've been able to engage so many local community companies and businesses who are giving back to the people that are in the community every day, and they in turn give back by spending money in the businesses and support. Like, it is like a massive circle as such, like giving and helping each other out.
Well, that's right. So over the many years, we have about 37 teams, about our limit of 4. So it's 148 golfers, and 30 of those teams, 32, 33 of those teams, always seem to come from, the schools and the diocese, and we have great friendly rivalry from all the teams, and that's fantastic. But because it's at Richmond, and because many of the local companies have had children go to Catholic schools like Beadpolding College and Chisholm Catholic Primary and St Matthew's and St Monica's, and St Dominic's Penrith, and so these kids have grown up and established their own businesses, and so they have approached me to say, could they put a team in? But to me, it's a broad church, if you like, and we've got lots of these teams that are very connected. Now, one of the companies is a local company called Stylecraft, and they're a company that's gone from position to position, strength to strength, and just reopened up there at just near the North Richmond Lights. And they for this year put in 2 teams, beginner golfers, if you like, with a couple of good ones in their teams, and they had the greatest time. And you've got teams like that, and Richmond Pool Suppliers. They've had connections with the diocese and kids going to Catholic schools, and they've formed a business here, and they've heard about it, and they want to play every year. We get people coming up from Wollongong, people coming down from Shelley Beach, people way south. They've all they wouldn't miss it. They want a spot every year. So we as soon as I claim the date and start the ball rolling in the new year, 37 teams are booked out straight away, and so it's just then trying to focus on a needy charity and how we manage that. We're just lucky that it's got tradition, it's got history, it's always enjoyable. It seems most people give us the feedback that it's well run and we've got it pretty well worked out. So everybody comes along to enjoy it, and it's as simple as that. It's not supposed to be anything grand, really. It's just what we do now, and it's we pretty well we meet our budgets every year. Our sponsors rise to the occasion. We're very grateful, so we pretty well make our 15,000 each time. So it's fabulous, really is.
I do like it. It's extraordinary that you've been able to raise $550,000 over 37 years. So, like you said, about $16,000 a slice per year for a worthy local charity that is going to benefit people in the community in one way or another. So that's a very, very good thing that people are given towards that, and it's got support of so many different people, and probably more than what can participate on the day.
Yeah, and we have a luncheon presentation, and we usually rises to about the 160, 170 mark. So lots of friends and partners who can't play in the day come to enjoy it as well. And we usually have a guest speaker from the charity come along to talk about the charity. Sponsors ensure the hole-in-one prize. We've had all sorts of things on that, but this year it was a 20,000 cash prize. So there is AON Specialist Insurance. You've probably heard of them. They specialise in insuring hole-in-one, the foreseeable risk of someone getting a hole-in-one, and the protocols you've got to observe. You've got to have an official scrutineer. We follow all those rules, of course, and we're able to. The sponsor's very happy to insure the hole, and this year, as I may have mentioned before, but we had one of the ladies in one of the teams nearly got it. 37 centimetres, the ball rested from the hole, and a lot of excitement. A few more rolls, she might have had it, but that's the luck you've got on a day like today. And in particular, the new sponsors of Paravan Caravans at Windsor and Avan at St Mary's, they provided what I call these Hawkesbury hampers. Now, they're incredible prizes. They're over $100 each, and everything in the Hawkesbury hamper is Hawkesbury made, and we're very proud of the Hawkesbury, right? So it was a bit of a surprise for the hole-in-one. There's 5 hole-in-one nearest the pins, so anyone that got nearest the pin got one of these hampers, and they were so happy with them, and we're hoping that those sponsors will do the same for next year. But you will see. We'll wait and see. But they're pretty enthusiastic to come on board again. So that's really good.
So over your time, how many people have actually knocked hole-in-ones into, and how many people have done it more than once?
Well, on this whole, of course, in the course of any golf club, many people can be lucky enough to get the roll into the hole-in-one. Now I know it. I probably I, I'm I'm a bit reluctant to tell you this story, but because it's involving me, I know that sounds a bit up the top, but look, I've never had a hole-in-one, but I have now, right? And some people, it just luck comes their way. So a couple of years ago, we had a $30,000 Toyota Corolla Ascent Sports on the hole,
Yep.
and we had that insured for suitable risk and everything else. So we had a very close call on that one, but it didn't go off. Now that was on the Tuesday, and the shot on the second hole on the eighth hole at par three at Richmond's a 150-meter shot. That's the insurance protocol,
Yep.
and the women of course have a forward tee of 8 meters or so, which is in the protocol. Anyway, so that particular year, I can't remember what year it was. A male golfer was about maybe 35 or 38 centimeters from the hole again, didn't get it, etc. The following Tuesday, the pin was in the same position. So Tuesday to Tuesday, 150 shot, exactly in the same spot. And I was playing with the club captain at the time with two others, my wife and another. We were in the comp. So I got out the 5-iron and I went for it. You won't believe it, just rolled it straight in. So that was my only ever hole-in-one, 1 week exactly to the time. So in our club, like in most clubs, with your hole-in-one, it's got to be verified by the pro. You sign it off with bar staff or the golf clubhouse staff. It then goes to a committee, and then you get a trophy, and excuse me, you get a hole-in-one trophy. Not only that,
Nice.
you get I think you get a bottle of scotch. So it's one of those things. Every club has a different way of doing it, but it just so happens that just happened to me. Not that I don't need to claim any fame to that, but that's I've never had one before, probably never get one since. And then that goes up on the board in the golf clubhouse.
That's so that would tell me there's not like stacks of people that are doing it. It's not happening all the time.
Well, we're the oldest golf club the oldest continuous golf club in Australia. Now, have I said that to you before?
No.
Richmond Golf Club has that distinction. It's the oldest continuous public golf course in Australia, and that has been verified historically. I think it's 1897 and 1898. The next oldest continuous public golf course is Albany in Western Australia. Funny or not, that's right on the coast there. It's amazing, Albany. So even though there's lots of claims of the first ever pub here and the oldest thing here and there, but Richmond Golf Course is. So, of course, our golf course has been going a long, long time. And so there's been many holes in one, and they're all up on the board. But, they don't come along very frequently. But we have a lot of golfers play every day. And of course, hole-in-ones are officially recorded in competitions. So you've got to be in a competition. If you're socially playing, it doesn't get recorded.
Yeah, so that's just like good for you, good for the morale, but not necessarily doesn't mean anything.
It was just coincidentally that I got a hole-in-one the next week. That's all it was. Crazy as it is. Yeah.
No, it's the same with me when I play cricket. Never hit a six in a competition match in cricket. In a few friendly matches, I've gone mental a couple of times and knocking them over the fence. Can't come within about 10 meters in a competition game. So just forget how to bat. So strangely enough. Now, please tell us your story about how you came about coming out to Richmond. So you originally started off, you're a beach boy from the eastern suburbs.
I'm not sure. Do you really want that story?
Yeah, let's tell us the story.
Oh God. Um, well, I was born in 1947. I'm 76 now, and I was born in Hague Street, Maroubra, in what they call a maternity house, and that was how things happened in those days, given the hospitals were far and few between. I mean, and so it was quite a regular uh, position where mums had their babies in maternity houses that were
Yep.
positioned here and there. So we lived in French Street. My dad at the time was he was sergeant. He was in the New South Wales Police Force. He was sergeant of Maroubra, and was, I think he was sergeant of Maroubra for nearly, I think maybe 18 years or so, and then he moved to Randwick, and then he was appointed a school an inspector of police and a superintendent of police. But the four brothers, he came from an 11, and they had the farm at Grafton, and four of the brothers came down as police, and his brother Roy was superintendent of detectives, and my dad was superintendent of Darlinghurst, and they were well-known rowers. Both rowed in the were picked for Australia to row in the Olympic 8 at the 1936 Olympics in Berlin, and of course with Hitler, and but my dad was assaulted by some criminals walking past the Glebe pub in 1935, left for dead, and that's a matter of record, of course, and he couldn't take his place. His brother Wal was the stroke, and my dad was the second stroke, and they rowed out of Glebe Rowing Club.
Yep.
And anyway, that's eventually he moved from Glebe to Maroubra, and then with my two sisters, I was the fourth one born. I got a brother, and so that's how we ended up at Maroubra. And then I went to St Aidan's, Maroubra Junction, and Morris Brothers Randwick, and of course my two sisters had their children, and one of my sisters, of course, were mad league and union people, cricket,
Yep.
tennis, incredible, sport was everything. And of course, in those days, Fred Stolley and Ken Roseville, this is my wife.
Hello.
My wife, Judy.
Hello.
This is Matt Austin, we're doing
right.
a Zoom for Hawkesbury Independent. So.
Okay, I'll leave you alone.
I'll see you in a minute. I'm not sure how interesting this is, but of course we were a family of cricketers and tennis players and rugby league and rugby union players, like it was in most of the families around us. It's what we did. But as young Fred Stolley and Ken Rosewell were young up and comers from the Wyvern Tennis Club at Maroubra Junction and Kingsford area, so we were coached by them, and both my brother and I became Milo representative tennis players, and we used to do the country circuit and all that. But mainly when the surf club kicked in, my brother didn't do too much in the surf club, but I did. And I was a member of South Maroubra Surf Club for many, many years. And I've still got a lot of great friends there. And then, we just grew up at Maroubra and did all those things. And one of my sister's boy, particularly, a number of them, they played rugby league, rugby union, graded with South Roosters, SG Ball onwards. And then my sister's second boy, he was a 6'5", and he was an outstanding rugby union player, played for Randwick for many years, captain Randwick first rate many years, friend of Campese's, well, they're mates, and they both got offered contracts for Northern Italy and went away for 3 years playing with one of those Northern Italy union clubs. Unbelievable experiences, and they came back. He resumed his he's a teacher, and he was one of the masters at an all-girls school at Liverpool, a public school, high school. But he's now moved and he lives in Queensland. But I mean, yeah, so that's just the life story of most people, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, and then I probably decided to. Well, I'm not sure whether to go down this track. A couple of mates of mine wanted to go through Africa to England and form a travel company, which I don't think we should talk about this story too much, but we did. We called ourselves Trans African Expeditions. So we bought 2 Land Rovers from Parramatta Road, went to Texas Tents and got a few tents made, and we advertised in the Herald, and we took 17 passengers to London over Africa, 1971. So I left.
How did that come about?
I don't. That's too much of a story. That's too much of a story. We put the Land Rovers on the bow of the Achille Lauro, which is now at the bottom of the ocean, and we then went across to Cape Town and unloaded the Land Rovers, and then we just drove overland to London. And the thing is, what we didn't know then, but we know now, of course, we entered. We had a very difficult time in South Africa with apartheid. None of us knew much about Robben Island at the time, so and we wouldn't be told what to do, being Aussie South Maroubra surf clubbers. Oh my God! But the Afrikaner policemen knew how to handle us. They just clobbered us if we wanted to walk or wanted to be equal opportunity with the South African Cape Coloureds, which we didn't even know how to describe. We weren't in any way racist, but the Afrikaners weren't going to allow us to fraternise. Anyway, so biggest problem we had really was Uganda, where Idi Amin took over, and we got caught up in that a bit. But anyway, so we got through. There's so many stories I could tell you, and to this day, I had a recent reunion with one of the guys on that. So when I went to London, I knew we couldn't make too much money out of it, so I then went into teaching.
Yeah,
and taught in London on and off for 5 years after that. Met my wife in London, who was a teacher from South Australia. Yeah. So it's a crazy story, and I could go right into that, but I don't think we've got time.
That's an extraordinary story. Going through Africa when it would have been inflamed, like you said, there was a lot of apartheid, and there was some ruthless dictators in different parts of Africa at the time. Wow! So I could only imagine.
Well, we went from South Africa to the then Rhodesia, into Tanzania, and Tanzania into Uganda, and then Uganda through to the Congo. And remember, this was 71, so we went through northern Congo, and we encountered pygmies and the jungle, as you would think of it, what jungle would be. But we weren't. The only violence and terror was in Uganda with Idi Amin. But we got through that, and there's some unbelievable stories I can tell you about that. And then we moved into Chad, Cameroon, Niger, and Nigeria, and then into Algeria, and then Morocco. But Algeria was unbelievable. We had to go through the Sahara, and we found that very difficult. And there's lots of stories about what happened there. But we finally got to Tangiers, Fez and Meknes, and eventually got across to Portugal and Spain.
That's what I was going to say. Where did you get the boat from when you got to Tangiers? What did they take you via Greece, and then
no? You
went into Portugal and Spain.
You get a ferry across. There's a very in 1971, but even now there's daily, twice daily ferries that go across from the very tip of Africa to Spain and Portugal. So, and vehicles go on and passengers go on 2-3 times a day.
Yeah, that's
and you just got to make sure your passport control, but they do all that. Yeah, actually it's probably a lot more difficult now because of the immigration issues and the tragedy of fleeing.
All the associated things that go on.
Well, the Sudanese, and there's so much. It's a very difficult passageway. You couldn't do any of that now. You couldn't travel overland. I mean, we just set up camp anywhere and we cook with gas and we just you couldn't do it now.
So I wondered if you may have wanted to try to go through Libya, Egypt, Iran, Saudi Arabia, the path around the Mediterranean altogether and up through back at Turkey. And
can't do that now. My wife and I, in 1975, we backpacked from Greece to Kathmandu by public transport.
Wow.
So we had no idea that. I mean, Turkey was great at that time, and we went overland through the catacombs and all the way to Mount Ararat of the famous biblical studies, and then we then just got public transport, like public buses go between Turkey and to Iran. And we spent time in Iran, which was pretty tricky, but that was in 1975. So that was between the Shah and the Ayatollah. So we wouldn't have had any idea about that. But when we went through there as Westerners, if you like, it was reasonably safe. But
it was still a bit of a neutral time then, but it was at the back end of that time.
It was, and when we went but it was still oppressive in Iran. It's very it's quite uncomfortable. But we enjoyed very much the fine art, the beautiful nature of some of the people. But they're very oppressed people, the Iranians. Then we went into Afghanistan. It was completely different. I mean, it was when the Russians hadn't withdrawn, and the Afghanis were very friendly, and the Taliban were not powerful then. They were still regrouping in the mountains. So the municipal councils, and they're a very poor country, Afghanistan, but very oppressed, but they were very friendly. The people on the ground were brilliant. They were so nice. So we spent quite a few weeks in Afghanistan then, and particularly Herat and Kabul. But then we went on to Pakistan and India, and then to Nepal. But it was just you don't really think about the circumstances. Like in those days, you didn't have instant social media to warn you of anything. There were no phones, right?
No
phones, and the only time you could communicate with anyone was go to the American Express office to hope there was a letter for you. Like in 1974-5, no phones, no social media, no communication. So you just lived on your wits, and you were resourceful, and you could sense danger if there was danger.
Now back in Turkey, Mount Ararat, Mount Sinai, what people don't know is where it's alleged, they'll say alleged because I don't believe it's been proven yet, where Noah's Ark is supposed to be somewhere.
Mount Ararat. A-R-A-R-A-T, Ararat. We went there. We went there, and there's all sorts of biblical references to it. But there's a lot of romantic nostalgia about what may or may not happen in those times, and so it's perpetuated by writing and
Storytelling, yeah.
storytelling. I mean, there are elements of truth in around it, but it just depends on where you are and how you want to manage the knowledge about the Great Flood and whether that happened. But no, yeah. So yeah, I didn't expect to talk about any of this.
No, I like it. So it's been an interesting path that's brought you to where you are now in Richmond. So what a story! I can tell you, I wasn't expecting to
No.
open this up.
No, well, life is full of stories. There's always a few hidden gems around. But look, I don't think I'm overly unrepresented. I mean, you scratch the back of anyone, they've got unbelievable stories. There's
Yes,
so many stories that I could tell. But I think we might leave it there.
yes, absolutely. So we'll just wind up a couple of things. So rolling forward, what do you hope to see come out of the golf charity event moving forward? So into next year and in the future.
Well, there's got to be a succession plan. Like I know that it's most of the management of the day is through myself and my wonderful people that help me. Um, they can't do too much until the day itself, but I'm very grateful. I couldn't do it without them. And so, as the years go on, my ability to keep managing the event will lessen. And
Yes,
so probably need to have a succession plan in the end. I mean, either we don't do it anymore, which will be a shame. And I think a lot of people would be disappointed in that. Or someone else comes up and takes over the management of it. I'm well positioned because I'm local. I'm a member of, I sort of know everybody there pretty well. And so I can fine tune a whole lot of things. People who aren't a member of the golf club itself, it's very hard then to manage it, even to get it on the schedule, because the golf club is it's a lot more than just this charity. The golf club, of course, has nearly 800 or 800 members, 771 members at the moment. We're trying to build that membership up. The area all around the golf club is developing. So once it's in your DNA, people love to get better at golf or get in the competitions and try their hand at this and that. So the golf membership and the golf club itself is an everyday event, like Monday to Sunday. So
yes,
on a charity day, you are depriving members of the opportunity to get on the course.
yes,
So we've got to be mindful of all of that. But if it's a day where it's well established and also for good cause, people don't mind.
yep.
There's only probably 2 or 3 of those a year. Yeah, so there's all of that in the background. It can be at any golf club, really. It just depends on the effort put in.
Yeah.
But I think it'll go for a few more years. But I'm probably wanting to put in place a succession plan so others take it over eventually.
That would probably be
motorhome. We'd like to get away.
that would probably be the logical thing, really, just to keep it rolling on and pass it over to a younger person, probably mid-40s or 50s, that's going to be able to nurture it and look after it and help continue on with what you set up over the last 37 years. So my last question for you is, it'll be a bit of a light-hearted one. So what would be your funniest or most interesting event you had while you've been playing golf?
The most amusing and
Yeah.
funniest time. Well, I suppose it's probably in the Camp Quality Kids for Cancer golf day.
Yes.
You can dress up in any way you like, and everyone dresses up very silly.
Yep.
And we know it's for kids, so you feel good about paying your subscription or your registration, and then you buy tickets in the raffle, and then everybody has a giggle because with the catch cry of Kids for Cancer is have a giggle,
Yep.
trying to make kids smile even though they've got a tragic circumstance. So, so that's, I would say, probably that day, because everybody's trying to uplift and be happy with the circumstance, which isn't so great. Yeah, that's probably it.
That's I think that's really important. It's critical that children do support, particularly when you do stuff for them, for giving them an experience where they're enjoying something that otherwise would be very oppressive, and you're battling it on your own, really. So it's tough gig there. Ian,
Now,
thank you.
I've got a question for you, or I've got an invitation
Yes.
for you. So, put down in your diary the first of October,
Yep.
2024.
Yep.
The 1st of October, Tuesday, the 1st of October will be the 38th annual Charity Golf Day.
I'll be there,
and we'll get you there for lunch. If not, have a game.
Yeah, I'll come. I'll come and have a hit. I've only played golf twice before. Unfortunately, both times were at Bucks parties. The first time was at mine. I didn't do too well. I'm happy to have a go. I've seen Happy Gilmore plenty of times. Surely,
We'll explore the opportunities for you in the future. Okay, Matt.
Absolutely.
I'll see you at the senior PGA in November, if I don't see you before, which is on the 10th, 11th, and 12th of November.
Yeah, you definitely will. Thanks very much for your time, Ian. Really appreciate it very much. And yeah, it's been a very inspiring chat and a great chat. And look forward to catching up with you at Senior Golf Day.
Same to you, Matt. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ian. Bye.